one to talk with all by myself. No one to walk with, but I'm happy on the shelf. Ain't misbehaving, saving all my love for you. I know for certain the one I love. I'm through with flirting, it's just you I'm thinking of. Ain't misbehaving, saving all my love for you. Like Jack Horner in a corner, don't go nowhere, what do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for, believe me. I don't stay out late, don't care to go. I'm home about 8, just me and my radio. Ain't misbehaving, saving all my love for you.
Hey, everybody. Welcome, children of the corn. And if it's a few minutes past 11 o'clock on a Saturday, actually past 12 o'clock right now, because we just finished our beautiful rebroadcast with the lovely Stacey Garcia. But welcome to the Club with Lucas, everybody. It is 12 o'clock on a Saturday. Are you awake? Because Lord knows I am barely. Shout out to everybody who knows why. Welcome back home, everyone. Gather around, and again, you're going to hear this another time, but you've probably been hearing it for a week and a half now. Happy New Year, loves. Happy New Year. Time to get cozy around the fire wherever the hell you are. It's not too hot today. Not too cold today, rather, because today's a lovely day here in BCN, and we are serving up some goodness that only we can do as we do in English, everybody. In fact, one of the lead names of next weekend's 19th of January celebration extravaganza of Elvis and Friends, the annual benefit concert at Luz de Gas, is kicking off on the 19th at Luz de Gas, as I just said, with Lady Tori Sparks is going to be here. In fact, my girl lady, Tori Sparks is Europe's reigning queen of flamenco rock, and she's going to be joining us in just a bit. As well as later on in the hour, we're going to hear from Mr. Club Elvis himself. One of the representatives, John Joaquin Luque, is going to be joining us in. He's actually speeding as I speak to you to Madrid. He's going to Madrid to do a concert for the weekend, but he's going to be diving into us with a little video link. I don't know if we'll be able to see him on video, but we'll definitely be talking to him about the Club with Elvis and why this annual benefit concert has become one of the biggest things at the beginning of the year for live music here in Spain, specifically Catalonia and Barcelona. Now, Tori's going to be breaking that down for us as well, so serve up your favorite poison, everybody, because we've got a lot of shit to get to. Now, you're also mine. Let me take a sip of my water. You're mine for the next hour as well, because we've got some news of things that's happening not only in our country, but specifically over in the other side of the charco, in the country where I was born, in the United States of America. And if Lady Tori Sparks joins us earlier than maybe I was expecting her to, I might ask her to join in for the news segment. 1 second, children. Daddy needs a sip of water. Now then. Like I said, we got a lot to get to in this new 2025 season, so welcome everybody to the Club with Lucas in 2025. Remember, you can join us and get all your jams live in Catalonia, 106.9 FM, and rce.cat as well. Quick side note, and I'm doing it for me and my sister Kelly from another mister. She and I launched a podcast at the end of October, beginning of November, and you can get that beautiful podcast with me and designer Kelly Ellis. It's called Design Meets Life, and you just witnessed part of it. In fact, that was the last of our beautiful stash of 10 for our first EP. I'm calling it an EP, although that would be 7, but EP podcast season with Lady Stacey Garcia. In fact, Stacey and Kelly will be together in Paris in just a couple of weeks. And we're going to be serving up a lot more of our lives on Design Meets Live podcast during this winter and spring as well. Remember, you can get that where all good podcasts are streamed, like, oh my God, Tori is here, like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Now, I want also that you lovers, follow me at the Club with Lucas on Instagram. You can also catch us at the Club W Lucas at Twitter. For now, we are moving to Blue Sky in just a moment. Actually, in just a moment, we're going to be doing that in just a moment. Actually, we're doing that this week. And remember, my beautiful people, you can also catch the jams live on rce.cat and watch us with your peepholes at YouTube at RCE 1069 FM. So much to get to, so pitter patter, let's do that. In fact, what we're going to do right now is serve up some beautiful music from here in Catalonia. Specifically, this is coming from my beautiful gentleman, the Marzipan Man and Sir Emmanuel of Este. This band is called Este. They are just launching, in fact. And their new single is just dropping this weekend. In fact, we got them playing here on RCE for the first time. And I believe it might be the first time they're being played in Catalonia as well. But you'll be able to hear them on another network at Radio 3 later as well. This is Este and Apotheke and Diamond Dreamers. Now, folks, we're sending you off into an ethereal smorgasbord of sounds for the next 3.5 minutes. These are the sounds of Barcelona. We'll be right back with some breaking news in English. Hey, everybody. Yes, that was the sounds of Este. Este is going to be, in fact, they are blowing up their new stuff right now. They're going to be putting that on all of Al Gore's interwebs. And you can find that music as well, where all good music is streamed, as well as SoundCloud. Now, we will actually be having them in the studio sometime in the spring, so that's going to be lovely. There's so much to jump after the New Year's 25, but I am not alone, because right after I manifested it, guys, right after I said if Lady Tori Sparks joins us,
That all the time. It's the weirdest thing ever. Anyway,
she's here in the studio. Yay! Happy New Year, Lady T's back with us.
Happy New Year,
everybody! Thank you
everyone.
so much for being here. Honestly, because I was saying, if Lady Tori was able to join us, if the queen of modern flamenco fusion rock can join us,
Thanks.
it would be very interesting to get her take on a few of these things, because so much is popping off in the country across the pond from which we hail.
Yes.
But first of all, more than anything, I want to just give a mad shout out to family and friends right now who are in Los Angeles, because the wildfires are raging. In fact, a couple of them have been slightly contained. By that, we mean 10 to 15% contained. Most of them are 0% contained right now. As I'm speaking to you and coming on here, they are reporting only about 12 deaths, but nearly 200,000 people that have been evacuated. One of my dear friends had to... It's just not a place to be alone right now. If you have a place to go to, escape. New evacuation orders have just been thrown in over the last couple of hours as well, because the blaze is stretching far east and is going all the way to the ocean. It is wiping it out. Madam, please.
One thing people don't understand is that California does tend to have fires. And so some people have acted like, okay, look, this is just the left-wing media making it a big deal because it's celebrities' houses all of a sudden. Yeah. And so now people care. But that's not the case. It's that this happens every year, but it's much more severe than it's ever been, especially close to such a populated area when it comes to, like, for example, right up near the Getty Museum and all these places. So when people respond with this total lack of compassion, like, well, it's just a few celebrities, who cares? It's not. So just don't listen to everything you hear on social media. And there are many places you can send help if you want to, even if you can't do anything directly, or you're not living nearby. You can offer somebody shelter. I mean, for example, being a musician, I know that Music Cares is offering assistance to musicians.
Exactly.
So just look it up and don't believe all the propaganda you hear, please.
Because the hype is not hype. And in fact, there's a lot of New York musicians that are going to be doing something at Bowery Electric, which is one of my family's bars. Jesse Malin and the boys from D-Generation are going to be doing that. All of the money is going to be going to this. So if you're in New York, please be doing that. Please be going to that to support that. There's also, I'm glad that you mentioned that, Lady T, for that, because you can actually send the money to, there's certain places that I would recommend that are not necessarily the big ones, but one of the big ones that I do want to mention is, of course, the LA Fire Department Foundation. The LA Fire Department Foundation has been giving every bit of equipment that they can and money to people, but specifically to the firefighters to support them. I want to also give a mad shout out to the Canadians and Mexicans who are sending their own firefighters to help us out, specifically from Mexico, and then, as of last night, Canada.
Yeah, and again, this kind of thing, people think it's some kind of weird left-wing thing for some reason, but
it's
actually happening right now.
Exactly.
So again, just look it up and you'll see pictures of these countries which have been menaced and insulted. And their
recently, which we'll get to in this
right,
news.
and their first response is, how can we help you? You know, it's a really amazing thing. So yeah, please keep these people in mind who don't have to be there, but they are, because it's beautiful. Yeah.
Especially after what's being lobbed at them this week by someone who's coming into the presidency soon. Another one I want to shout out specifically is our Spanish friend, Chef Jose Andres, whose World Central Kitchen is on the ground right now in Southern California, providing thousands and thousands and thousands of meals, but he's been doing this for years now, specifically through the pandemic. You can also give, and these are the other two that I want to say, the California Fire Foundation and the League of California Community Foundations. All of those specific four that I've mentioned, all of the funds go directly to them. That's why I'm not saying some other ones that normally would be said, but we're going to skip those. And those four that I just mentioned are four that you can get a hold of, and they will be taking donations of any site and any kind at the moment.
Well, it's important to know where your money goes to, because unfortunately people take advantage of disasters, and there are organizations in the past, like when back in the day with Katrina.
UNICEF?
For example, but Katrina in New Orleans, Africa, I was going to say, and
Madonna, the American Red Cross in that one.
And there were all kinds of from the beginning of time, like you said, dating much further back than just and way beyond the American disaster scope, just worldwide. You never know sometimes if your money's getting to, but those particular places you mentioned, they actually do. They're very transparent, so it's a good thing to know.
And that is why they're there, and specifically on the ground, folks. Another thing that we want to make mention is that President-elect Donald Trump was sentenced yesterday. Now, sentenced for what? Well, let's have some takeaways from that. Obviously, there were 34 felony counts that he was held for when he was in office, paying off his fixer attorney at the time, Michael Cohen, to pay off a porn star. for relations he had when his wife was giving birth to their child. Now, according to this, and this is part of the stuff that really stuck in my craw because it was...
You mean the part where he's the president's a felon is that there's more that stuck in your craw?
This is the thing. He is the first felony conviction of a former and now soon to be sitting president, and this is how he's entering it into the office. The thing that's unprecedented about this is that there are no charges. He's a convicted felon, but there are no penalties. Basically, there's not going to be any fines. There will be no jail time. There will be no, a confinement time at home or anything.
Well, they explained when the verdict was announced, when the sentencing verdict was announced,
yes, ma'am,
that because the opinion of the court is that Trump is not above the law, as no American citizen is.
Mm-hmm.
However, the office that he will be holding brings to bear considerations that made them feel it was not appropriate to recommend prison time. So that does imply that someone's circumstances makes them above the law. And I'm not saying this because I'm not a fan of Trump. Mm-hmm. This would be the same thing if it were, my mom, even though I love my mom and I'm hoping she doesn't get convicted for anything. But it's not, what I don't understand is the kind of the blatant lack of regard for the legal system in the face of intimidation, in the face of fear, of consequences.
Which we're seeing more and more acts of.
Well, and not even the legal system, the Facebook thing, for example.
Exactly. Well, this is
the lack of fact-checking anymore because they're afraid of what the administration will do. So I feel like everybody from the courts to Zuckerberg are very scared of what Trump could do because he's this person who's repeatedly made threats against people within the system, saying I will use the system to get you. Mm-hmm. So it's a scary thing,
It is a scary thing, and the people that he's trying to put on his cabinet, for example, Kash Patel, who would be the head and running the FBI. He wants to go after everybody that Trump has laid out, and he has said he would be doing this. Now, if he gets approved by the Senate, is another thing. Of course, the Senate is now 53 to 47 in favor of a Republican-held majority, and so that gives credence to that. One thing that he did try to do, because Trump is going to continue to try to appeal this with his attorneys. Now, the U.S. Supreme Court noted when it allowed the hearing to go forward, they did it by a 5-4 decision. We only have 3, I guess you want to say, centrist leftist judges on the court out of 9. But Chief Justice Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett, the other female on the right, the only female on the right, actually sided with leftist justices to say, this guy has to go forward, the sentencing has to go forward. That was a bit of a shock and perhaps a surprise for future, maybe, rulings. Please, what do you think?
Well, I think it's unfortunate that people who know, I don't tend to speak very publicly about my political opinion because I'm usually only speaking publicly on social media. And so I don't use social media to push things that are important to me personally. Like if I break up with a boyfriend, I don't say what a jerk. And if the construction workers messed up my kitchen, I don't.
Because your mama taught you better than that.
Well, I use it for work. But when I've done interviews or something, like in this case, and we're talking about it, people know who've heard me speak that I know that I'm not a fan of Trump and never have been. However, I think people think when someone says something like that, especially if you're a musician or an actor or something that's supposed to be you crazy left commie pinkos whatever. It's not that. It's that this person, unfortunately, whether you like him personally or not, his ripple effect with the way that he's behaved in public office has created this kind of this very big problem, like in our modern society that's in the U.S., but also it's kind of spilled over the U.S. into the rest of the world when it comes to fake news, undermining to the system of democracy, and all these things. And it's very disturbing to see the way in which it's considered to be like an act of bravery to make a court ruling based on the law. Mm-hmm. Now, even basic stuff is considered, oh my God, I can't believe that a justice would actually do that, even though he's the one that appointed, for example, Coney Barrett. But isn't that what they're supposed to do?
Exactly. Like
decency, the rule of law, it sounds very grandmotherly, I know, but decency, the rule of law, respect, being able to have confidence in the system, in just facts, just that a fact is a fact is a fact.
Exactly.
Not that the world was perfect before, but the impact that this man specifically has had and his enablers have allowed him to have, right? It's just such a scary thing, and I just wish that people from all sides of the aisle would see that, because the impact is going to be long lasting. And you could put another Republican in the White House, go for it. But just don't make it someone who will burn the whole system down just for the sake of like an ego trip. You know, it's a very scary thing.
And without having a plan, just concepts of plans. That's one of the things he keeps stressing. We have concepts of plans. And yet we see, for example, if you didn't know, now you know. But right now, a minimum we know of 13 Fox News hosts are going to be running cabinet positions.
Well, the thing is, if they were qualified, that would be fine.
Correct.
Like there are people who are I just saw something the other day, a news story about a pilot for, I think it's American Airlines, who's also one of the most sought after classical orchestral conductors in the world. Like there are people who can multitask, you know what I mean?
Amen.
So it could
We
be
are two
that
of
some,
them.
right, so it could be that some Fox News presenter is someone who is highly qualified to hold the office of whatever in the cabinet. But they're not, you
That's the
see.
thing.
That's the thing. And it wouldn't matter if these people were, for example, my favorite rock band. It wouldn't matter if you're not supposed to be in that office, don't be in the office. And what I don't get is how other people, professional human beings, not just the MAGA cliche of like an uneducated, angry white man, no, but like college educated, intelligent people who've been around. How do some of these people say either, yes, that's a good idea, or they're so scared of this man that they say, I don't think it's a good idea, but I may as well go along. How is that possible?
I think there's to me, it's obviously intimating that many of these people, whom the majority, 80, 90% of them profess to be Judeo-Christians, they really don't have, not only do they not have strong backbones, they don't have scruples. They do not stand by what they say. Because many of them, the vice president included, J.D. Vance, and his hillbilly elegy was calling him the Hitler of America, of the U.S., and now he's the vice president. Well, he or Elon Musk, we shall see. Elon Musk could be the president, we don't know. But that's one of the things that I also have to make mention, because just this morning, off the presses on El País, La Vanguardia, de la República, 60, excuse me, let me get this properly. Over 60 different heads of state of European nations are coming against Elon Musk. In fact, they're disavowing X from these governments.
Well, because he's not an elected official.
He's not, and he's telling people to go specifically for the far right, the Nazi Party of Germany.
But criticizing, like in the UK, criticizing world leaders for policy and things that affect this particular country. But this is a massive social media platform. It's not like just some guy or some rich guy, some guy with access. Right. This is someone with more access, like unprecedented access, you know? So it's a very, again, like, how did this person end up in this position? Why was this allowed? These are the things that make me doubt unfortunately, the future of what is supposed to be what they say is the greatest country in the world, but you can't do shit like this and call yourself the greatest country in the world, first of all. And second, it's not just limited to America now. And I love America, okay? But it's not just limited to us anymore. They want to take Greenland away from Denmark.
She's going down my news list. This is exactly it.
I mean, but these are things that, like, this affects international relations with American allies. And America, whether you like America or not, it's one of the most important countries in the world on the economic and military power stage. So we can't have America blowing up. It just doesn't work.
It doesn't
metaphorically
work.
or physically. It doesn't work.
These ideas that he has where he just says we're going to do this, and then he sends he sends Charlie Kirk, who is a right-wing insane bot of a podcaster, and his son to Greenland to meet with representatives and heads of state over there.
But again, not qualified for this job. It's not a question of, like, do you like these people? It's put somebody in a position who has some kind of experience. It would be like me saying, dude, I think I could totally do open heart surgery. And they're being like, all right, here's a knife. I mean, I like your music. Here's a knife. No, dude, no. You can't. You have to, like, be an adult about these things. And the problem is that the people that I know, because I have people in my life who believe that Trump it's just bombast. He's not a bad guy. I'm not sure where they're getting their information from, honestly. But the people who truly believe this, who I don't think are bad people, I think they're misinformed. What I've tried to tell them is, look, this is not a question of liking this person. This is a question of how will these decisions impact the future of the world, and not just America, but also America, you know? And this is the thing that I wish people would think about just a bit and not selectively ignore things that they find inconvenient when it comes to this person's, not personality, just his policies, the way that he behaves on the world stage, right? So we'll see what happens. And a lot of people have said, it's just 4 years.
In just 9 days, we'll see what happens.
Right, but the thing is, let's hope it's just 4 years, but the policies, just like with anything, just like the economy, policies that a president puts into place affect the next generation and the next, as you know.
As do Supreme Court justices.
Right, so that's
and he
scary.
has a possibility of putting another one or two in there.
So let's just hope that, I don't know. I hope that something occurs to make it so that it is not possible for him to implement his crazy ideas. But more than anything, I would like it if his people around him somehow put some kind of brakes on this situation. Like, because not every Republican in the House or in the Senate is a nutcase by any means.
Definitely not. But only about 10 to 20%, depending on what we're looking at, are not in the House. And the senators are the ones that should hold his feet to the fire.
And not all of them support what he's doing, but I wish they would
Thune,
find
coming
their...
in as a new speaker is a good one.
Right, so find your backbone and defend your country, you know? This is
because it's getting murky, children. In fact, speaking of murky, I washed my hands in muddy water.
That was a good segue.
You know what? Because this is what we're jiving into. So, folks, since we're going to be dealing with the beauty that is Elvis Presley, and now that his daughter also has a wonderful new memoir out, which is incredible, by the way, about her life, but her life with him. Incredible. This, however, is Lady Tori Sparks with Danny Nello with the ETB as well. And this is a track that you guys performed. When was this?
This was 2022, I think.
Okay.
But I don't have good quality videos of some of the other times that we've taken over the stage. But yeah, the reason I'm here was not actually to talk politics, but it's part of life these days. Just like,
and when we have 40 more minutes.
But Lucas, thank you for inviting me to come in here. We are actually here to speak about a benefit concert that I have had the good fortune to be a part of for the past 7 years or so. It's the Elvis and Friends tribute concert. It's a benefit concert that we do once a year, and I only say we because they keep letting me come be a part of it, but it's really the Elvis tribute band, which is the capo of that band is Augusti Buriel Augibur and Joaquin Luque, who is the president of Club Elvis. And for the past, I think, 7-8 years, they've been organizing this benefit concert, which is an insane amount of work. It's just, I've never seen such generous people in my life. Like, I know what it's like to organize a massive benefit concert with many invited artists, up to 30. Sometimes they've had 30 invited artists. And I don't know why they do it every year, except that they're just angels. They're just such good people.
Damn right.
They don't get paid a thing. And all the money that we collect at this concert goes towards some kind of nonprofit. Once a year, they pick a different one. This year, everything goes towards the people who are affected by the Dana, all the floods and the rain and the storms in Valencia in November.
Well, it should.
And so that's actually why I'm here to speak about this incredible benefit concert that I'm happy to be a part of on the 19th of this month.
Yeah. At Luz de Gas, my beautiful children of the corn. So we're going to give you just a little nibble of what you're going to be getting all night long on Sunday night there. And like Lady Tori just said, all of the proceeds are going to help those who need the relief in Valencia province. Let's get this. This is I Wash My Hands in Muddy Water, and in about 4 minutes, we'll be right back with some news with interviews with Lady T, because we've got some news to talk about anyway. We'll be right back.
I wash my head in muddy water. I wash my hands, oh no, with that little clean, no, no, no. I tried to do just what my daddy told me. Oh, you know I wash my hands so low in that muddy street. I asked the jailer, no, it's my time up. He said, sir, no, we won't forget. But if you try to keep your hands clean, well, you won't make a good man of me. to my sentence. So I broke out of that Nashville jail. The sheriff called me. Ooh, way up in Nashville. I hear all of that time on my train. 'Cause I wash my hair in muddy water. I wash my hair over that little concrete on the floor. I tried to do just like my daddy told me. Oh, Lord, I must have washed my hands in that muddy street. Oh, un aplauso para estos caballeros, por favor, como no.
An applause for my queen, Tori. And doing this with Danny Nello. Now, can you repeat what you just said in between the song, please?
Yeah, the thing is that this is, like I said, this huge benefit concert once a year, but these are songs that some of these people, some of these invitados, these invited guest artists sing all the time because they do a lot of Elvis songs. But a lot of us, like myself, we don't do that many covers. We don't do any Elvis songs normally. So these are songs that like I've learned like 2 weeks before. And then I come in and I, like in this case, for example, myself and the band and Danny, we rehearsed this once in sound check. That's it. And then you're on stage in front of, this was the biggest one they'd ever had. It was 600 people, like packed in a Luz de Gas like sardines. So you're on stage in front of 600 people playing a song you've played once,
Exactly.
ever. And so it's a really, and I don't say that to make myself look good. It's just, I want people to understand like the kind of incredible nature of this kind of concert, that all these people come together. Hi, what's your name? Okay, let's make some music together.
From around the globe sometimes.
From all over
too.
the place. Yeah, there's invitados this year that come from the UK, from other countries, other places in Spain. And I just, like I said, I really respect everybody who's giving of their time to create this beautiful event that raises money for a good cause. And myself, it's always really fun, but it's more nerve-wracking than a normal concert for me because they keep having me back, so I have to prove that it's for a reason. And like I said, I've never done these songs before, so this year one of the songs I'm going to be doing is actually like it's one of the songs of Elvis, right? So there's a lot of pressure, man.
Yeah.
You can't be like, oh, that's the prima, that's the girl they invite because she's nice. You got to make it good.
I love it. But that's okay. So let's just dive in there. Right. As a working musician, then when you're doing these things, because you just got back from a wee little tour that you were doing in Italy, you've got other stuff that you work on in reference to other work that you do. Do you find it important to keep that mojo always on lit?
Well, it's yes, and that's
one more
good and
question.
bad. Yeah,
exactly. How do you do that when so many other people, especially if they work in the industry, are not necessarily like that here?
Right. Well, that's also a very good question because it's one of those things that's kind of a sensitive thing to talk about. People get quite offended. But yeah, like to answer the first part of the question is that yes, it is important to constantly be working and doing stuff. Partly because the music industry, especially these days, has such a short memory. So the second you release an album, you're like, when's the next one? And you're just like, really? Yep. I just gave 2 years of my life to this project. Are you kidding? So, but you have to constantly find ways to renew what you're doing to keep your audience and to keep yourself going. But I do have to say that at least in the past several years, it's been much more difficult for me than ever to find a balance between the energy needed to be a creative person, to create new work, to create new music, to always be innovating, and to take care of the marketing, the interviews, the other stuff, because they're both part of the job.
That's right.
But in the past, I found it much easier to combine them. These days, I feel like, not this interview with you, but in general, like the marketing stuff, the booking, the paperwork, all that, I find it really sucks the life out of me. And it makes it very difficult to concentrate on making music, which is what I'm trying to do now, because we're working on a new album, or we're starting to. So right now, I find it more difficult than ever, honestly, to balance the two. But I think it's mostly because of social media. I know everyone likes to blame everything on social media, but it truly does give you ADHD if you didn't have it before, because it's this constant influx, input, everything all the time. So myself personally, I'm trying to find a way to balance the demands of the business, the new shape of the business, which is very different than when I started 20-something years ago, with the necessity to create the best art I possibly can, because I truly believe that if you're not going to do that, don't be a musician, go do something else, right? So there's that. And then here, specifically in Spain and in Catalonia, which I love Spain and I love Catalonia as they're two entities that they are, but in both places, the cultural concept of promoting yourself, that's not a part of the culture. There's kind of a tall poppy syndrome where, like if the flower in the fields, if there's a tall one, cut its head off, right? Which is one reason I've been able to get some things done, because no one else is willing to step up and do them. But on the other hand, you get a lot of pushback because many people are not very proactive, at least in the music industry. I don't want to talk for every business in this country.
Sector,
people they see it differently. They're like, well, if you're good, cream rises to the top. It's like, man, have you worked in this business? You have to work so hard.
Well, the things that go behind the scenes, just to put this on, hours go to do this 1 or 2 hours to make this happen. Much less, like you were just saying on the stage, you rehearse that once for 1,000 people and you execute it properly. But the work that goes into that is years and hours and hours.
That's the thing.
This.
Yeah, that's why when you talk about musicians making, that's actually back to what we talked about with the celebrities and the fire. People kind of mock. Of course, some celebrities deserve to be mocked. They're ridiculous. But generally speaking, we know what I'm talking about. But generally speaking, a musician, an actor, a person in the arts, people think, well, you go on stage and you play for a couple of hours, you get all this money. That's ridiculous. Your life is great. And what are you complaining about? And it's easy. What people don't understand is exactly what you said, that it's not a question of, I'm so special, give me money for being special. It's a question of, all the
unpaid work.
Yeah, all the unpaid hours of work, years of work that you've put into honing your abilities, which is quite complicated, these abilities. It's not just like you study singing, you sing. There are many elements that go into putting on a good performance besides your technique. So when you've cultivated this incredibly complex skill set, basically, and then you have to execute it, whether you're sick, whether or not the sound is actually good or bad, which is that's kind of an epidemic here in Barcelona, is bad sound, and not at Luz de Gas, which is great. Hey, but man. It's fine. It's like one thing James Taylor, I remember saying in an interview, James Taylor, as you guys will know, the famous folk singer from the 60s and beyond, but he once said most people go through something in their lives once, twice, 3 times that requires every ounce of your fiber of your being, every ounce of your soul, a marriage, a birth, a death, that job you've worked for your whole life type thing. He said musicians do that every single night. It is every ounce of your being focused and all this technique and all this emotion focused into this laser point every night. And it's huge. It's something not everyone can deal with, which is why so many musicians end up being very weird people, drug addicts, alcoholics. Yeah. Because
the
even if you
that expels from you.
Yeah, because even if you start out normal, which I think I was relatively normal before. I was like a scholarship student. I even had khaki pants, and then you get in the music industry and it is soul crushing and it's quite a bit of energy. So my point is, like, when people see us on stage, I don't want people to say, like, again, oh, look at you, you're so special. I want people to see any musician on stage or any actor or anyone who's giving of themselves in this way and think, wow, that was a lot of work.
It is.
And I appreciate that. Or not. Or I hated your work. But at least I know it was a lot of work. That's all.
Went into that. And not just in the people who are performing here in Spanish, Catalan, in every single language. In fact, will there be, or is it, all the songs will be in English?
Well, because this Elvis, yeah, it's all going to be in English, because I think that the people, a lot of the fans who come to this particular concert, some of them are fans of one of the musicians or one of the artists in particular, but most people who come, they come for kind of this Elvis experience.
Amen.
And as a result, I'm the weirdo who's always doing kind of an odd version and stuff and kind of pushing the boundaries as far as I can. But most people, they try to stick as Elvis as possible, to the point where there's even some people who like dress like him and do the hips and the weirdness. And it's a whole gamut of Elvis interpretations.
I love it. You know what? We have just been notified that our dear brother Joaquin Luque cannot necessarily make it because, like I said earlier at the end of the beginning of the show, before Tori arrived, he is in a train to Madrid because he's playing some shows there and then coming back, obviously, for next weekend show here. So he has left us a beautiful message that he wants to be thrown out into Al Gore's interspheres. Well, I'm going to throw that in just a moment. We're going to edit it quickly. And I'm going to give you a 3-minute ditty. We just mentioned all these different languages. Everything, of course, at the concert next week is going to be in English. But this is a little ditty for not even 2.5 minutes by François Hardy. This is Comment te dirai adieu, which is my terrible French for how would I say bye-bye. This is François Hardy. We'll be right back in 3 minutes with a beautiful message from the head of the Fans of Elvis Club, Joaquin Luque.
Prétexte, je ne veux avoir de réflexe malheureux. Il faut que tu m'expliques un peu mieux comment te dire adieu. Mon cœur de silex vite prend feu. Ton cœur de pyrex résiste au feu. Je suis bien perplexe, je ne peux me résoudre aux adieux.
Amour n'a pas de chance, ou si peu. Mais pour moi, une explication vaudrait mieux.
Sans aucun prétexte, je ne veux devant toi surex poser mes yeux. Derrière un Kleenex, j'en saurais mieux. Comment te dire adieu? Comment te dire adieu?
Tu as mis à l'index nos nuits blanches, nos matins gris-bleus. Mais pour moi, une explication vaudrait mieux.
Sans aucun prétexte, je ne veux devant toi surex poser mes yeux. Derrière un Kleenex, je saurais mieux comment te dire adieu. Comment te dire adieu? Comment te dire adieu?
How would I tell you? How would I tell you? Well, you know what we're going to do. Now, you know, here at the Club with Lucas, sometimes we just have to do things in Catalan or Spanglish, and this is how we're going to roll. However, our beautiful brother, Joaquin Luque, who's the president of the Fans of Elvis Club, or Club in BCN, excuse me.
Yeah, Club Elvis Spain, technically, yes.
Club Elvis Spain.
Yeah.
Not just BCN, excuse me. Club Elvis Spain has been a beautiful gentleman, and he's left us a message on a voicemail. So we're going to play that right now, and then Tori and I are going to do our best to give you the English version of that. But it's a 2.5-minute message from the head of this, and he's going to be there. He's actually going to be at the concert.
Yeah.
So I just want to say mad shout out and mad love as well to Joaquin Luque, and again to Agustin Burriel. What did you call him earlier?
He's like the capo of the ETB.
No, but you had a little name. You called him El Agui or something. What did you?
Oh, because he goes by Augie Burr when he does
Augie Burr,
these like
I
English
love
things,
it.
which makes me
I
laugh.
love it.
But Augusti, just to say, first of all, like I said, no one gets paid in these events because it's a charity concert.
charity
But
event.
Augusti also, I just wanted to mention that there are very few frontmen. I mean, he's a very talented singer, but there's very few frontmen who would give up their band basically for the night, like, and just not have any ego about it. Everything he can do to support the invited guest artist, that's a huge thing. I mean, not many people would do that. And then with Joaquin, the reason why he and Augusti can't be here today is because they're doing a Club Elvis Spain kind of benefit concert version of kind of a, what would you call that, like a satellite version of what we do in Barcelona every year. They're doing one in Madrid this weekend today.
That's what it is.
And they've started doing that a couple years ago. So
Okay.
it's not enough for them to once a year do this massive production in their hometown. They do it in Madrid too, which is 3 times as difficult. So again, just total respect for these two men, and they're both such sweet people. So
Yes, they are.
So,
Really.
yes.
And Augie Bear is funny as hell. I also want to give mad thanks to Liam Marti, who's my technical, who makes all of this happen. He actually just received the message, so shout out to you, my sir. And we're going to listen to this right now, and then Tori and I are going to be translators. This is my family. This is Joaquin Luque. Let's listen to him right now.
Hola, buenos días. En primer lugar, mis disculpas por no haber podido entrar en directo. Ha sido imposible, la cobertura que hay aquí en el tren pues no me ha permitido estar ahí con vosotros. Simplemente decir, hablar un poco de Club Elvis, que el Club Elvis es una fundación sin ánimo, asociación sin ánimo de lucro destinada a mantener el legado musical de Elvis. Desde hace muchos años no paramos de hacer eventos y quizás el Elvis Friends es uno de los más importantes y de los más bonitos que hacemos, ¿no? Es un concierto benéfico que cada año lo dedicamos a una entidad diferente y este año pues lo dedicamos a la Dana, a los afectados por la Dana. Gracias a Tori por estar ahí, por estar apoyando siempre al club, por ayudarnos, por dar visibilidad. Y bueno, la gente que venga al concierto lo que verá será un gran espectáculo, un gran show, con un montón de artistas invitados, gente de aquí, músicos de Barcelona, músicos de fuera, músicos que vienen de Inglaterra, vienen Johnny Stadd, que fue miembro de los Rocky Shut Up The Replace, y Dani Reno, que es un cantante tributo a Roy Orbison, que lo hace genial. Y bueno, luego gente de aquí, Santi Carulla, Bebe Candles, Big Dani Pérez, Diofra Bardallí, por supuesto Tori Sparks estará con nosotros como cada año. Y también viene gente de Valencia, como Miguel Ángel Escorcia, que precisamente vive en una de las zonas afectadas por la Dana. Y viene mucha gente, y la verdad es que será un gran espectáculo. La gente que venga se lo va a pasar muy bien y de paso van a ayudar a una buena causa como es pues los afectados por la Dana, ¿no? Quien está interesado en nuestro club, en Club Elvis, puede ponerse en contacto con nosotros a través de un correo que se llama info@clubelvis.org o también a través de clubelvisjl@gmail.com, que es mi correo personal. Y bueno, y preguntabais cómo podéis contribuir a este proyecto. Ya estáis contribuyendo a través de este programa. Os damos de nuevo las gracias por apoyarnos, por difundir este evento benéfico, y os esperamos a todos el día 19 de enero en la sala Luz de Gas. Todo el que quiera saber de Club Elvis puede hacerlo a través de nuestras redes sociales, clubelvis.org, también a través de Facebook, facebook.com/Club Elvis, o por Instagram, Instagram.com/Club Elvis. De nuevo, gracias a todos, gracias por darnos visibilidad, gracias por este programa. Mis disculpas por no estar ahí en directo una vez más, ha sido imposible, y bueno, os esperamos a todos el día 19 de enero en la sala Luz de Gas. Muchas gracias.
Woohoo! And that's why that man's the president. That was a great summary. Yeah.
Gives you what you need to know, and there you go. So I also want to make mention of that because, again, you can get all of that information as well at clubelvis.org. Okay, you can also reach him if you want to work with him, if you'd like to do some of the benefits that they do, some of the organizational stuff that they do, you can also contact him at his personal website, email rather, that he just sent us, and that is clubelvisjl@gmail.com, clubelvisjl@gmail.com. Now, one of the things he was also saying, this is something that as Tori also laid out about 30 minutes ago, all of the money that is going to be raised here is going to help the people in the Dana that suffered in Valencia. This is something that goes on every single year. This year, he said, we have people from all over the places, all over the world. In fact, the UK as well. Do you know some of these people from the UK?
I haven't met them personally, but
Okay.
they always find really interesting artists. So it's always been good. Every year it's better, honestly.
Honestly, because this will be my third time to go. And second time because of you. So I want to thank you, girl.
Well, I want to thank you because I remember once when I was recently recovered from foot surgery and they wouldn't let my family come up the stairs to the dressing room to help me get down the stairs with my cane, and you yelled at the security guard at Luz de Gas. So thank you for being my bodyguard, senor.
It was ridiculous. But this is also when you're dealing with the Queen of Flamenco Rock Fusion, my God.
Well, I'm not a diva, but dude, I couldn't walk.
And the cast was the size of Texas, so the man was just being silly Billy.
But I didn't want to cut into your translation of Joaquin. I'm sorry, but
No, please, and help me with that. There was something I'm missing.
Well, basically, he was explaining that Club Elvis is a nonprofit organization that It just exists to maintain the legacy of Elvis. They're all just huge Elvis fans, and they truly know so much about this man's life and legacy, way more than I do. They thought that I knew more because I'm from there, no, but I do not. They are the experts. So that's what the point of the club is, because they just love this man and his music so much. And honestly, my appreciation for Elvis grew exponentially after having learned many things about his life and his music through them. And he was explaining that and how he'd be happy to talk to anyone who wants to get in touch via their social media, whether it's just about learning more about Elvis, whether it's about participating in the club, about the concert, whatever. And this particular event is one of many events that they do throughout the calendar year, but it's perhaps the biggest and the most important one. Every year it raises money for a different nonprofit, in this case, as you mentioned, for people affected by the Dana. And it will be on Sunday, the 19th of January at Luz de Gas at 7 p.m. with Agustín Buriel, and he named a bunch of the invitados who I forget right now. But they're on their social media, there's a poster that lists at least a partial list.
Right now.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the other thing. The club Elvis, the club here at Lucas, what we want to do is serve up this goodness that we provide here in Barcelona, because so much often gets overlooked, especially in Catalonia radio. I've noticed that a lot of the stuff that gets played specifically is never from here.
Well, that's the thing, is that
Rarely, not never, rarely.
Well, is that all these artists who are participating, I mean, these are all independent artists, you know, and by independent, I mean, some of them are like myself, where we make our living playing music. Some people don't. It's just quote unquote, just a part-time thing, but they're incredibly talented people, and they're giving of their time, and they put on a great show. So it's worth coming just to see the show. But of course, it also supports a very good cause. And, you know, these days, like we were talking about before, the world's a complicated place. It's stressful. Can be scary, but you know, just imagine if your home had been swept away by a flood. It would be so much worse. So
or burned down.
So in this case, these people are, you know, I know this happened back in November, but that's only a few months. That was 3 months ago, 3 months ago. So these people need help desperately in a way that I can't even begin to imagine. So we all encourage you to come, if not for the rock and roll, then just because every cent goes to these people, and you're doing something good with and it's a Sunday. You don't have anything to do.
Exactly. And it's early. It's early as well. So it's starting at 7. It'll be finished well before midnight, obviously.
No, like 9:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you go out for a lovely dinner. And that's the way. And then again, remember that you are helping others. And that's point of the process of what we're doing here. Like your music that helps others as well. You've just thrown out the little tidbit that you're working on some new stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, if we could divinate into the future, when do you think that might be more ready? Would it be more of a 25 or a 26 release?
Well, my plan was this year.
Amen.
So, but my plan last year was last year too. So, but as you know, as you personally know, and as some people listening may know, yes. I had some pretty serious health complications, and not serious in the sense of cancer, not serious in the sense of life-threatening, but serious in the sense of not being able to work. Exactly. I lost my voice. I was also just very ill and just couldn't sing for 9 months, and couldn't speak for several of those months, which maybe that was good for some people because I did not shut up. But, you know, recovering from that physically, mentally too, because it took a toll. I mean, that's been a year and a half at this point. So it's not only a question of, do you have the time? Because I had time, I couldn't work, but I didn't have the mental capacity to write. So now I'm working on it, and I don't know exactly when it'll be finished, but this is not going to be your typical album either. So it's presenting me with both new problems and new challenges in that sense, because I don't want to explain exactly the whole concept behind it yet, but I am going to be releasing chunks of songs at a time, yes. Not singles, but like 3 songs at a time, which will eventually constitute the entire project, and it's part of a concept. So we could record some songs and start releasing them before the end of the year, or not. It kind of depends on the availability of the musicians. It depends on many things, because again, what we were talking about, when an artist releases an album, it's not just like, you know, I thought of some music and it's done now. You got to coordinate with the musicians. You have to take that from a demo on your iPhone to an arrangement that moves people, record it, mix it, master it. You got to promote it. So in theory, my goal is that by after the summer to be able to start releasing parts of this project. And it's going to be very different than anything we've done before. So some people will probably be very excited about it, and some people will be like, what are you doing? I'm
itching to know about the concepts. I have plans of a concept. Concepts of a plan of
touche.
this. But this is going to be,
No, there's a plan, but I want to save it for like when we start
Amen.
releasing it, because
Damn right.
otherwise I'm just repeating myself. But let's just say that these days it's very common to release EPs or bits of music at a time and not a full album. So I'm taking advantage of the way that the industry is working now in a sense, in terms, because otherwise you release 12 songs, 15 songs, and people listen to 2 and and you're done, right?
Will we have a music video?
So yeah, there'll be videos, and releasing songs bit by bit gives people the opportunity to appreciate them more, as opposed to, it's kind of like you publish 400 photos on Facebook versus you publish 3, no? And people actually pay attention. But then also it has to do with the musical concept behind it as well. It's not just a marketing thing. And I'm excited about it because it's, like I said, it's different. People know us from the Nashville days with the rock blues country Americana stuff. People know us from our flamenco fusion work here, and this will be very different. So it's a scary thing too, because when you lose your health, you lose your voice, you come back, and then you make an album that maybe people will hate. It's, just keeping things safe.
That's right. Well, keeping things safe is how we do it over here, or not. But also, we're coming off the back end of 10 years since the release of El Mar.
Yes, this is true.
And if you go to certain segments of streaming sites, you're going to see that there's a celebration of that. And so one of the things that I wanted to do as we close out now is to play one of the songs off of that one.
Well, I really appreciate that. Yeah, El Mar, for those of you who don't know, is, which I don't expect everyone to always know these things, no? Because I'm not Madonna, but even if I were. El Mar is the first album that I recorded here in Barcelona, and we released in October 2014 with, so it has been 10 years. Oh, okay. I'm like the worst mom ever. I'm like, kid, how old are you? But anyway.
And that's why.
So yeah.
Just past 10 years.
Just turned 10 years.
And now we've got the new year.
And it was the first flamenco fusion album that I had done, which was not on purpose. I had been collaborating with this trio called Calamento and El Rubio, the guitar player with whom I still collaborate.
Yeah.
And it's been such a wild ride because this music just sprang out of the combination of all of our different influences. We weren't trying to be fusion anything, no? But it just happened that way, and I'm very grateful because it's been a really beautiful learning process for me, because you come into something already having a career basically, and then you realize there's so much more to learn always, and from these incredible musicians. And this has been a blessing to work not only with them but also with the people who are a part of our sphere, like Felissa, who designs my dresses, like
shout out, just on the podcast.
Exactly, like Andres, who is our sound engineer. I mean, people who've come into our lives because of this project that now, again, I've learned so much from, and we're going to continue to work together, I think, until we're old and gray.
Learn from them and party out together. Remember, everybody, you can also get all that information at clubelvis.org. But the concert itself will be at Luz de Gas on Sunday, the 19th of January, starting at 7 o'clock. Done by 9:30, and Lady Tori and so many other people are going to be there from all around the world. Folks, we want to thank you. We want to thank specifically Tori for being here today, as usual. Thank you so much for joining us here, and for all of you for joining us as well. And Joaquim Luque, thank you so much. Have a beautiful show with Augie Burr.
It's Augusti Burriel, but it's Augie Burr.
And I've got to get this right. Augie
it's
Burr.
like Clark Kent and Superman.
They're the same person.
They're the
Folks,
same
also,
person.
this is El Mar by Tori Sparks, and we will see you at the same bad time and channel next Saturday. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.
Esto no puede ser, mi amor. Viviendo en la oscuridad sin saber. Yo esperaba por demasiado tiempo, como la esposa de un marinero perdido, esforzando sus ojos, mirando las olas, imaginando formas a lo lejos, y al final no hay nada excepto el mar, excepto el mar. Azul y tan vasto, azul y profundo, como los ojos del hombre que la dejó, del hombre que la dejó, del hombre que la dejó. oscuridad de la esperanza. Yo esperaba por demasiado tiempo, como la esposa de un marinero perdido. El único sabor dentro de su boca es sal, lágrimas y espuma, y al final no hay nada excepto el mar, excepto el mar. Salado y asombroso, salado y profundo, como los besos del hombre que la dejó, del hombre que la dejó, del hombre que la dejó por alguna cama incógnita y remota. Esto no puede ser, mi amor. Esto no puede ser. Esto no puede ser. Y al final no hay nada excepto el mar, excepto el mar.